hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to another edition of Our Girls Play Hockey. It's Lee with Hayley Scamurra here today. Another Q&A episode for Hayley. Again, for those of you keeping score, we asked you for some Olympic questions, and you couldn't help yourselves. You had to ask questions about her life, her PWHL, and her career, which, joking aside, Hayley is more than happy to answer because your questions are pretty awesome. And we know that, especially if you've got kids in youth hockey, these are the types of questions that can really motivate them and drive them or make them smile and laugh, right? And have fun on this show. You guys all know that at home. All right. So, Hayley, are you ready for another round? This is like round 4 of Q&A questions for you.
I am ready. Yes, prepare me for all my interviews.
Okay, here we go. All right, Ben wants to know, how old were you when you started playing hockey?
I was 3 years old. I started playing. I have 3 older brothers as well. My dad played in the NHL. And we grew up in Buffalo, New York. So we were just talking about this the other day when he was looking for like a house for us to live in. His biggest thing was having a backyard where he could build a backyard rink. Like that's all he needed. And so we got to have that. And so that's where I first started skating. So he put me in skates right away at 3.
So let's just do a disclaimer real quick. If you didn't have your kid skating at 3 or your kid has just been born, they don't have to skate at 3. It's okay.
Yes.
Just because Hayley does it. No, joke. Half joking, half serious on that. It's a privilege if you can start doing it in that scenario. But 3's young. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make the argument maybe you learn to walk and then you were on the ice right away.
Yes, that's what I usually say. As soon as I could walk, he put me in skates.
Yeah, again, I like to go on tangents.
Yeah.
I think you relate to this. I am more comfortable skating than walking. Right?
In life?
Yeah,
right
I feel more comfortable on the ice than I do walking. It's not that I have any problems walking. It's just like the hockey stride's always been more natural to me. Is that true for you too?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm an outlier here. Okay. If I could rollerblade everywhere, I probably would.
I guess I've never thought about it, if I'm being honest. I guess I probably trip more walking than I do skating, so maybe.
You see where I'm going with this?
I do actually. Yeah, it's starting to click for me. You might be right.
It's just something about being on the ice that just feels a little more natural. Maybe it's my alter ego coming out. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, some really great young questions here. So I'm going to try and say this name right. It's Mayu Wisely 11.
Okay.
Great question. We discuss a lot. Did you play boys hockey growing up or co-ed hockey?
Great question. Yes, I did. Especially back in my day. There was really I sound so old when I say that, but yeah, there wasn't really any girls teams. It was all boys teams. There was maybe times when I had 1 or 2 girls on my team at the same time, but other than that, it was usually all boys. So I did that until I was like 12, I want to say. I did 1 year of body checking. And then I think my dad and I were both knew it was time to switch to girls. I just wasn't really having fun anymore and was kind of getting nervous with the hitting, with the guys getting bigger and things like that. So I probably switched around 13 years old to just girls.
Ironically, you're one of the more physical players in pro hockey right now.
Yeah.
But funny enough, and for the audience asking, we've actually done some great episodes on when's the right time or the conversation surrounding going from co-ed to girls hockey. You can check out on the network as well. I always like to make sure we give those resources. So great answer, Hayley. Okay, next one's from A-Neeps98. You're going to actually have to preface this one for the kids a little bit here so they know what we're talking about, Hayley. But how long did you play at Nichols?
Okay. Yes. So Nichols is the high school I went to in Buffalo, New York. It's a prep school. I actually picked that school because at the time it was the only school in my area that had women's hockey. So that's also crazy. Now there's so many other teams in the area, but I digress. So I went there for 4 years. I actually only played hockey for 1 though at the school. I played soccer for 2 years at the school. And then after that, I only played it was called the PWHL at the time. So it was actually a junior league in Canada that I played for my sophomore year of high school through my senior year. And so that's what I decided to do just for my development.
It's amazing how much it's grown the last 10, 15 years, like you're saying. And, there was a really great feature online from the girls who go to that school now about you specifically and what it meant when you won that gold medal to them. And I just remember one of them saying, well, if she can do it, we can do it. And that's just such a cool thing to hear. So good stuff there. All right, next question is one we could probably do an entire episode on. So I love that it was asked. And I know you like this question too, Hayley. So Lindsay 28 asks, how do you overcome being shy when you're talking to your idols? That is a great question, Lindsay. Thanks to you
Oh,
for asking that.
that is a great question because I'll never forget when I met Ovechkin back in like 2017, 2018, something like that. I was so nervous. I had no words, like, couldn't think of what to say. So I was like, kind of understanding where people are coming from. I think the biggest thing to remember is they're humans too. And they were also in your shoes once. Like, they looked up to someone. And so I think typically when you do meet your idols, they're very understanding of that. So it's like, just talk to them about anything. Talk to them about your hockey season, about school, about anything that you like. Maybe you can connect on something. Um, and yeah, just remember they're human too, and they've been where you are.
Yeah, and now Ovechkin comes to your practices.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the way it is. Lindsay, I'll tell you this too, just from working with a lot of pro athletes. Haley, you'll probably agree with this also. If you're a kid, you should absolutely step in and talk to them because they will 100% talk to you most likely.
Yes.
If it's the right environment, I should say
Yeah.
that too. Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
run up to them and they're having a private dinner, okay? But they
Yeah.
want to talk to you over their parents. So
Yep.
I think they love that when you do that, Lindsay. And whatever anxiety you're feeling, you can do it. Push yourself to do it. All right.
Hmm.
That's how you become better at things anyway, by pushing yourself
Yep.
to do things you're uncomfortable with. Great question. All right. This next section of questions is all about being a pro athlete,
Okay.
PWHL athlete. Okay. So, Daff Watson, good question again. You guys get the best questions. Is it difficult to switch from being teammates to opponents when you play against players from your Olympic team or the national team in the PWHL?
Great question. I think it's really not. Like, I think we just have so many amazing people on our team. In terms of coming back from the Olympics this time around, it was definitely like day one. You could kind of like feel it, but like overall, it was everyone was congratulating each other. Like, there was nothing but like good intention there.
Right.
You could just tell that they were obviously disappointed and sad, which is understandable. But they were all so gracious about it, like super congratulatory, even in line, like at the games. Like, they
Yeah.
were all like very kind and said something extra. And
Yeah.
they don't have to do that in that moment, right? But they did. And so it says a lot about their character. So in that sense, it's not too hard. And then the funny thing is also playing against my USA teammates. So we're playing Boston on Sunday. So I have a few teammates there. So, and
Just
they're
a
both
few.
defenders. So it's like I'm gonna run into them a lot.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's like it's fun. Like, we enjoy playing against each other. We enjoy playing with each other. And so there's so much respect for one another. It's never really awkward. It's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah. Now you have to shoot on Frankel.
Yes,
Now you
that
gotta try
part
and
maybe I'm
score
not
on
as excited
Frankel. Yeah,
about.
that's got to be a weird one. Like, that's the
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist goalie.
Yeah.
Another thing I like to tap on with questions like this is, and I'd love for you to talk about this for a second too, Haley, is that the ultimate sign of respect to your teammates is to give them
Hmm.
everything you got, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge piece to remember, especially as girls hockey players. Like, I remember when I would like help at girls practices, like they won't play physical with each other. It's like, no, you have to.
Have to.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think I like the way you phrase it, is that it's a sign of respect. Like, if I go any lighter on you, I'm not helping you and I'm not helping myself. So it's
Right.
like, go hard against whoever it is.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's also what creates champions too, right?
Hmm.
Not just talking Olympics, right? Like,
Yep.
if you want to be great as a team, you have got to push each other to the best you can do. And iron sharpens iron in those situations, right? And
Yep.
that sometimes can be the difference between gold and silver, first and second. Is the team that's willing to push themselves
Hmm.
beyond being comfortable, for lack of a better
Yep.
reason. Just because you mentioned it too. Again, I said this before. I don't know what you see from the games from a television
Hmm.
perspective, but we did see Poulin and you in the handshake line, and she
Hmm.
clearly, obviously she knows you're your teammates, but there
Yeah.
was a clear little extra, I'm sure,
Yep.
congrats, see you soon.
Ye-
From, you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So interesting. It's an
Yeah.
interesting scenario. All right, next question is, I hope I'm saying this right, is from Sarah Maudy or Maude. Do you love playing with the Montreal Victoire, or would you ever want to play with a team in the United States? We could dive into that and how contracts work, but go ahead, Haley.
I do love playing for the Montreal Victoire, and I did choose them. I had options, and so, of course, I would love to also play in the States. Like, if you could have the best of both worlds, right? But I think Montreal just kind of aligned with who I was as a player, and I knew people there and the coaching staff, and felt they seemed really confident in who I was, and they really wanted me on their team, and that's essentially why I ended up picking them, and to also play with some incredible players who are on their team, and uh, so yes, I love playing for Montreal. And of course, I would never mind playing for a US team as well, but I'm enjoying my time here.
Yeah, and what's funny about these questions, Haley, is that just like pro hockey anywhere, it's like sounds like you're pretty much wanted everywhere. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That most teams want you.
Mhm.
It's a great question, Sarah. I can appreciate that. All right, Victoria Young wants to know, and there's a good question too. Again, kind of about the pro
Mhm.
life. Was it hard for you leaving two teams and then coming to Montreal because you have played for three PWHL teams in your life?
Mhm. Great question. I had a really hard time with the trade. I will say, I think that year was maybe my hardest year in hockey. It felt like I just wasn't myself. Even at the start of the year before I got traded, it was just something was like off.
Right.
And then getting traded, then going through injuries, and it was a hard year for me overall. And I did have a hard time kind of adjusting and getting comfortable with like on Toronto. And I think that was a big factor in why I kind of wanted a fresh start when I did hit free agency. And so I think for me, the fresh start in Montreal was hugely helpful. It kind of like was like a clean slate for me. I was able to kind of reset mentally, physically. And I think that's why I've been having such a successful year. I think without the fresh start, I think I kind of would have fallen back into the old patterns personally. So I think that was huge for me. So that part hasn't been a hard transition for me, but the trade was definitely really difficult on me.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to ask you about that a little bit, as much as you're comfortable talking about it. Um, what's interesting about being traded at the pro level,
Hmm.
when you equate it to youth hockey, it's like switching organizations. All right. Um, Kids listening, being
Yeah.
traded as a pro comes with a lot of emotional, what's the right word here? A lot of emotions, period. Right.
Yeah.
Um, one team wants you, one team doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of
Hmm.
who, and then there's like the analyzing. Well, who else was involved in this trade? What did I get
Yeah.
traded for? How much of that did you dive into? Not dive into? And then like maybe there's some advice there, right?
Yeah.
Not that it may happen again or anything like that,
Yeah.
but you've been through it now, right? Like, how did you
Yeah.
compartmentalize that?
At first, I only felt the negatives of it. I was like, Ottawa doesn't want me anymore. Like, this is like so depressing. Like, what the heck? And then I remember someone was like, no, like someone wanted you that much that they traded for you. Like, remember
Right.
that piece of it. And so that was really helpful for my mindset because I think I was just so focused on what I lost rather than what I was gaining or what
Yeah.
someone wanted in me. Um, so that was a tricky part. And then I just think it was kind of hard to find my footing within the team in the middle of a season. Like that was also difficult. Like it wasn't from the start of the season. So there was so much I had missed prior, building relationships and things like that. You kind of have to do it at a drop of a hat. Like all of a sudden you have all new teammates and you're trying to figure out how you mesh with everyone and who you're comfortable with and who you want to hang out with and where you're going to live. Like all of that was really stressful.
Yeah. I gotta
Um,
say, it's not like you get traded to a small market. I mean,
yeah. It was
went to the market. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So yeah, there was just so much that went into it, but I think just surrounding yourself with, family and friends who are helping you, staying connected to people, like kind of putting yourself out there um with your new teammates and getting comfortable as fast as you can.
Yeah, I can't, because I know you well enough to know it's like you're going to give everything to whoever you're playing for,
Mhm.
and it's got to be such a weird like I gave everything here,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like now I got to do it someplace else, and you
yeah.
really got to collect your thoughts, like you said.
Hmm.
But I appreciate you opening up there for a second too, because like there's a
Hmm.
lot that goes into that. So a lot of kids, again, you might look at other organizations, you might look at other teams to play for. It's probably important to know like the emotions attached to that, not just limited to youth hockey in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
right? That's part of life, right? And
Hmm.
again, this goes beyond hockey too. Like you can be, we'll say, quote unquote, traded from a job,
Yeah,
all
true.
right, to something else. All right, since we're talking about you being in Canada forever, this next question is just about life in Montreal. Jean takes photos, wants to know on game days, how does the team travel?
So for home games, everyone travels on their own. We all have our cars that we go over with, and most of us are further away from the game rink than our practice rink. So it's a little bit of a drive, and also like on weeknights, it can be really long because of
Yeah.
traffic. So luckily, we've had a lot of weekend games where there's less traffic, which is really nice. And then for away trips, we have Toronto, Ottawa, and Boston are all by bus, and
Hmm.
then the rest are by plane.
Okay, not bad at all. Yeah, that's pretty cool to
Yeah.
hear. Um, pro athletes, right? Pro athlete life.
Yeah.
All right. So this next set of questions about just team dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
challenges that come in the game. So Harper Fish, again, great question. What has been the hardest part of your journey so far, either physically or emotionally, and what has helped you get through it the most? That's a big question.
That is a big question. I mean, I think the two that come to mind are what I kind of just talked about with the trade. I think
Yeah.
that year was one of the hardest years of my career. And then also in college, I got hurt my sophomore year and I was out for like 3 months, but I felt very isolated from the team. And that was kind of a hard toll mentally. Um, but what that has taught me is like how important it is to kind of keep in contact with your teammates who are injured because it is very isolating. Like you go to the rink at a different time than everyone, you're not practicing with everyone, you're doing your own rehab process, like you're missing games, you're missing bonding time. Like there's just so much that you're not a part of and you're injured on top of it. Like it's just not a good time. And I think sometimes it can feel like you're forgotten about. So just reaching out, sending texts to people, staying in touch when they're injured, I think is hugely important. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about this when it comes to mental health, that, there's like this trifecta of things that need to be
Yeah.
present, right? Identity, purpose, and community. And when you pull one of those three things, it gets hard. You pull two or
Hmm.
three, I mean, you can really become depressed.
Yeah.
And so I love what you just said was it taught me to check in on my teammates. I
Hmm.
think for everyone listening, that is such an important lesson, be it sports or life. Just someone checking in can make such a massive difference,
Hmm.
because your head can become a dark place,
Yeah.
inward if you're not careful, right? It can become a vortex. So I love that you said that, and I love that you brought up being injured, Haley, because yeah, like checking on your teammates, checking on your
Hmm.
people goes a long way.
Hmm.
And being what may I ask what the injury was?
High ankle sprain.
Oh, the
Yeah.
worst of the
They're
not
like, it would have
minor
been better
injuries.
if
Yeah,
they're like, it would
yeah,
have been better if you broke it. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah. Yeah, they really should rename that something else, because people are, you have an ankle sprain? Like, no, my leg does not
It's
work.
literally like I
Yeah,
couldn't put any weight on it. It was
no.
insane. It was
And then
terrible.
when you can, you got to be extra careful, because it's just, oh
Yeah.
yeah, the worst. All right, moving
Yeah.
on. Let's happy. Well, okay. This next question's like happy, but it's a good one. Carrie Barry 84, great name by the way. It's a good question. All right, how do you deal with teammates who may have a very strong or different opinion than you? That's a solid question.
Wow. I think the biggest thing with teammates is like you have to just respect one another. And you also are not going to be best friends with all of your teammates. That's the reality of it. You're not going to gel with everyone in that way because we're all different. We're all humans. We're all unique in our own different ways. We have different opinions, different views on life. And I think it's super important to just have that respect for one another. But yeah, maybe you're not best friends with that person, but you have to respect them. You have to be able to talk to them. You have to be able to um, connect with them in a certain extent. Uh, and because otherwise you just don't really have that team camaraderie that you need. So, but I think it's super important to meet people where they're at and uh, be supportive of one another on the ice.
Yeah, Haley, one of my favorite aspects of team building, which is, I do that, um, is there's a little miracle, or it's miraculous when you get a group of people to work together towards a common goal, because of what you
Hmm.
just said. You're never going to get a group of people that just agree on everything, and
Hmm.
and it's just hunky-dory all the time.
Right.
It doesn't exist. I've never seen it, right? I've
Yeah.
seen some teams with like 90% of the people are
Yeah.
feeling that way, but it's never there. And I think part of being a great team and a great teammate is, like you said, you have to make allowances for other people not being like you. In fact, I could probably make an argument that if everyone was the same, you probably wouldn't win,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's because that
Yep.
doesn't work either.
Yeah.
You need that
Exactly.
multi lava to create land,
Yep.
right? I think it's also important to note here too, especially in the climate that we're in, that it's okay to have some boundaries on teams of things like, hey,
Hmm.
we're not going to talk about these things in the locker room
Hmm.
because it's not conducive to helping us win,
Right.
right? But we respect everyone having their own opinion. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes saying that's okay, because I think that if you're looking for outrage, if you're looking for conflict, you'll find it, right?
Hmm.
And it takes a team commitment to not allow that to infect, I'm using that word purposely, your
Yeah.
locker room, right? Like, we're
Yep.
here for a job, and the job is
Right.
to win and compete together,
Yep.
right? And if it's not conducive to helping us achieve our goal, we don't really need to bring it up.
Yeah.
I think more people need to be comfortable with that, right?
Yeah.
Agreeing to
Totally.
disagree. All right.
Yep.
So Carrie Berry 84. So it's weird saying that at the question. Great question.
Yeah.
Maria Florentino 23. Another great name. Kind of on the same heartbeat. You're gonna probably have to explore this one a little bit, but how do you get over getting upset with yourself or your teammates when you lose?
Hmm.
It's a solid question. Like, and I get it.
That is a great question. I think, let's say, a teammate makes a mistake that leads to the game winning goal for the other team, right?
Sure.
It's like, how can you be upset with your teammate when it's like we're all going for the same goal? Of course, that teammate didn't mean for that to happen, and it could have been anyone in that position. And there's a whole team here on the ice. It's usually not just that one person's fault.
Right.
There's usually a series of events the whole team contributed to, even people on the bench potentially. Like, funny enough, when we at the Olympics, one of the goals against that we had
One of the
was
two.
one of the two was against Czech, and it was
Yeah.
their player came out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
And I remember our coach was like, "Hey, the bench has got to be louder to let the
Yeah.
people on the ice know
Missed
that they're out
assignment.
there." So it's like, hey, even if you're not on the ice, you're still responsible. Like, on the bench, you're responsible for the energy, for telling your teammates, like, if you have time on the ice, if someone's coming off the penalty box. So I think that's the biggest thing to kind of keep in mind is the perspective of it. It's like it's never one person's fault. Um, so I think that would probably help in terms of not getting upset with either yourself or with your teammates after a loss.
Yeah, look, in team dynamics, I usually preach accountability when questions like this come up. So, look, the first things first is you got to have an understanding of what trust means in your locker room
Mhm.
before anything makes sense, right? And everyone has a slightly different definition of trust. And the problem with that is that you can bend and break trust by accident if you don't know what it means to the team, right? So once you've established that, I always use the teammate self. That's the priority system. That's how we know trust, right? I should be able to ask any athlete: are you putting the team first, their teammates second, and yourself third? All three are important, but is that the order in which you're prioritizing, right? So I'm just using that as a basis for what I'm saying here. Once that's established, then I turn to communication as the next most important thing, and then accountability. And I think what people don't realize about accountability is there's lots of different levels to it. And it's very hard from going as an unaccountable person to a fully accountable person. It's like a ladder, right? And in a great team environment, I'll use the example you brought up, Hayley. Like, someone makes a really bad play and the other team gets the game-winning goal. Unaccountable is, well, you screwed up and you cost us the game. That's not a very accountable position. That the middle is actually, okay, you made a mistake, let's try and fix it. That's better, but that's not accountable. Accountability is, what did we do wrong as a team, or what can we improve as a team so that this doesn't happen? It's not really put on anybody.
Right.
You just said that, right? Like players on the bench.
Yeah.
Fun story. A few months ago we had some of my players from Puerto Rico on, and I talked about how I had 3 athletes in our gold medal game that did not even get a shift, and they were the loudest, by far the loudest players, not just on the bench but in the arena with the fans, and their teammates talked about how impactful that was because we were down in the game, and how it had a massive impact, right? So I think this question, Mia, is more about accountability and understanding that, I say this too: your first emotional response to a situation, give that response a little grace. All right. Because it's usually a judgment level response of, you screwed us. Right. And it's okay if you feel that way. If you hear that thought, it's okay. You're human. Right? It's okay. But it's questions. Can you kind of know that you heard that and then dismiss it? Right. And then go to the next thought. That next thought's usually the important one. The first one's your fight or flight response. Right. It's your ability to kind of be like, okay, we need to work on this. I'll give you one more. It's kind of a funny example now. I was playing, it was adult league. It wasn't anything serious, but I remember, it sounds like a sad story, but it's funny to me now. The morning of the game, one of my dogs passed away. All right. So I know that's the sad part of the story. So I had to put one of my pets down, and we get to the game, and I'm working hard, but I'm just not feeling great.
Of course.
We get to overtime, and I put a puck on the tape of my opponent coming into this. It was one of the worst turnovers I ever made. He goes in and scores. And we lost the game. And I remember something had happened where I was on the ice when it happened. I fell down or something. I remember I got up on one knee. I'm sitting on the ice thinking, boy, what a crappy day. Like, this is just a bad day. And then, you know what my next thing was? I went to my goaltender immediately and I said, hey, that was on me. And I apologize. Right. And what ended up happening later was he was, obviously wasn't happy we lost, but he came up to me later. I told him what had happened that day. And he was pretty cool with me in terms of like, hey, man, I didn't know you were having such a bad day, but I appreciate you coming up to me. It was a good moment, right? We had that accountability with each other. So anyway, accountability goes both ways, works with both people. And I think that's the key word here that you got to study here, Mia, is just look at accountability. Email us. I can send you that ladder I talked about. It's a great visual of what you may say or what a teammate may say in those situations. So great question. All right, Hayley, these next three are kind of rapid fire.
All
right. Two of them are very interesting. One is about hockey.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, we'll do the hockey one first. Any pregame rituals? That's, by the way, that's from, I got to say this name. That's from Brennan. That's his name.
I'm not too ritualistic, honestly. I go to the rink, tape my stick, and then wait to play sewer ball, which is a soccer game.
Yep.
Where I don't know how many people know it. It's very serious. We get very competitive. You can only hit the ball twice, and you're in like a big group, like juggling or whatever, and you're trying to get other teammates out. So you want to sewer them is what you call it. So it's like getting them a bad pass or like whatever. So it gets pretty serious, especially on the Montreal team. Like we're diehards. We get angry at each other sometimes. We're like fighting, like, hey, you're out, whatever.
You talk about trying to compete on before the game, by the way. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So that's really it. I'm pretty chill, honestly, now. I think I used to like be really serious and follow exact rules, but now I'm more laid back, I would say, like in the locker room, and like to chat with people and things like that.
Yeah, I'll say two things on this one. Everyone should look up the clip of Macklin Celebrini playing sewer ball, because boy does he get mad when he doesn't win. The second thing too is, and I'm just gonna put this out there, kids. I think there's a lot of talk of superstition in hockey that makes you think you need to be that way to play well.
Yeah.
If you have superstitions, I'm not telling you not to have superstitions, okay? Yeah. But I am going to say that you don't need to have superstitions if you don't want them, okay? I like Hayley's approach. Like, I think the mind is more important than those rituals, and I don't think there's anything you're going to do before the game that affects in terms of when I'm talking about superstitions. It's going to affect how you play. There is routine. I think routine is very, very important. Okay, like if you go left to right in your equipment, I totally get that. All right, I'm just saying, if you go right to left, it's probably not going to change anything. All right, but every great athlete, including Hayley, has said that there's a routine that I follow to be prepared. Okay. All right, Victoria Young too. Once the hard hitting question here: burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay, strong answer. No hesitation. All right, Hayley, this next question is very important for you as a Buffalo native. Okay, some might say you are an authority on this, having grown up there. Okay, because Arc 5520 wants to know: is it blue cheese or ranch for wings?
Blue cheese all day, every day.
There you go. That's the definitive answer from someone from Buffalo. I'm going to throw it in there too. Favorite type of wing?
My favorite one in Buffalo, it's called Duff's, and we just do one of the scales is mild medium, and I asked for it crispy, and I got them when I was in Buffalo this last trip. That was the first meal I wanted.
you earned it. I'll say it like that. Drumstick or actual wing now? That's the other side. That's one more.
I think I like the wings the best. Like yeah.
There's something about them. It's a little bit different. They're a little harder to eat, but they
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Hey, again, only the hardest hitting questions for you on Our Girls Play Hockey. Hayley, that's it. That's all the questions we have now. For those of you listening, maybe at the end of the PWHL season, we'll open the doors up again for some questions, because a lot's going to happen between now and then. Yes. But for all of you listening, great questions. Really, like again, we tease about some of the food questions, but the hockey questions are fantastic, especially from you kids out there. Those are the questions we really love to answer. Because we know you're dreaming, and we really want to help you with that. We want to push you with that and help you find the ways to be successful with those dreams. So, Hayley, any final thoughts before I close this out?
No, just thank you so much for your questions, and I love answering them. So always feel free to send them in. I want to be able to help and be that kind of person for you all to come to when you need it. I know I didn't really have that for the female athlete side, so happy to be here and happy to support.
Well, we're happy to have you too, Hayley. Another great
Thank
episode.
you.
All right, everybody listening, remember, if you have any questions, you can always email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or there's a link accompanying the episode in the description. If you tap on that, let us know who you are, where you're from. You can ask a question. We'll ask them on the air. We will have, obviously, topic-based episodes coming to you in the future as well, all about girls hockey and hockey in general. But for Hayley Scamurra, I'm Lee Elias. We will see you on the next episode of Our Girls Play Hockey. Take care, everybody. Have fun. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.